Hello, Abigail here with the astrology for this week. This week we have some really big moments. We have the new moon in Leo, which, while it is the partner to the full moon in Aquarius, has some really deep ties to that full moon in Capricorn we've already experienced. So, some recurring themes, partially because of the aspects, but also because of the Mercury retrograde. But I will go into that more in that video. But just know that we have some big stuff happening this week. Starting off, we have Venus square the nodes. Whenever, a planet squares the lunar nodes, we get this really kind of moment of not climax of decision making and having to deal with choices, and it's a moment of having to really face the past and the future and our desires, our capacity, especially in relationships, because it is Venus. Also, during this time, while it happens a few days later, Venus is going to be square Mars as well, because Mars is conjunct the South Node. So we start off this week on Monday with a bit of a, oh no, we have to really sit with what is happening. This is a Venus in Gemini. This is a very spicy, saucy, fun, and playful Venus that doesn't exactly like to have to face, what is going to happen and the consequences. This is a Venus who prefers to have fun and stimulation and to really interact with its environment. It doesn't really want to go into the existential place of, what is the future? What is the past? So just be aware that there is a bit of a heaviness and an intensity in this week that we get to enjoy. And it's not all bad. Venus square the nodes can be a really clarifying moment. It's also has a lot to do with past life. So if you have any kind of karmic relationships where it's clear that you all have done this before, or that there are cycles that need to be broken or dealt with, this is a time to either recommit to that or say maybe not this time. But it allows us to make these choices and to do these things and to have agency over our future. So it's going to be gnarly, but I think it's going to help us make choices relationally moving forward. Who do we want in our life? What are the things that we aspire to? And do the people that are in our lives have similar aspirations or have the capacity for the lives that we desire to have? All very important questions. So recognize that this is where we start. Then on Tuesday, the sun goes into Leo. It is Leo season. Happy birthday to my Leo sons. The tarot scopes for this will be coming out shortly. You will be getting those probably Monday of this week. So day or two after this video comes out. So keep your eyes peeled for that. I do one for each of the zodiac signs, so your sun, moon, and rising. I also encourage you to look at the one if you have any stelliums that don't contain your sun, moon, or rising. Like everything else in Aries. Stellium is 3 or more planets in a house or a sign. Well, mostly in sign. Anyways, Leo season has some interesting astrology. I have done a video on the astrology for Leo season. You can also check that out. And then, like I was saying, we have Venus square Mars. This is the moment between connection and action, and Mars conjunct the South Node still, even though it's separating, is struggling with taking steps forward. Mars conjunct the South Node in a birth chart struggles to see more than just what has happened and the consequences of what has happened. So recognize that this isn't exactly a hopeful aspect, but this is an aspect to force us to take action, to force us to commit, to force us to see where things are not working, and have to kind of sort through those difficulties and that lack of maybe connection or understanding when it comes to this. I will say a Venus square Mars is also pretty spicy. A way of release in this moment might be to do something sexual or something playful. But yeah, it's not easy. Mars and Virgo can be very serious and pedantic sometimes, and Venus and Gemini can be very unserious and very fluid. So this is a moment where kind of critical thinking and frivolity exist. It actually, as someone who is ADHD, it feels very much like my ADHD side kind of intersecting with my autism, and how it can be helpful and also very hard to have an incredibly fluid, fast-paced side and then a very slow side that needs a lot of regulation as well and wants to stay calm. Allow yourself to engage with and feel all of your feelings. That's my advice for all aspects that are a little hard. But also ask yourself, like, what do you want? And is there a way to know what you want and then get it in kind of silly, goofy way? How can you get something serious and long term and well thought out while being a chaos queen or demon? um, some good questions in this moment where things can feel tough. Then on Thursday, we have this new moon in Leo. It is kicked off with the sun going into a trine with Saturn. And the reason, at least I'm not going to go fully into this, but the reason a lot of this moon has a lot to do with the astrology is because the ruler of the last moon was Saturn. And so now we're getting all of these direct connections that we were kind of getting adjacently last time. So all of the themes from that full moon in Capricorn that might have felt a little more hypothetical or far away are going to come in full force into the present as something to be dealt with and handled. And Leo is about the sun, and Leo also rules the heart. So it is about centering yourself and finding your desires in all of the chaos, in the trine with Neptune, in, the sextile with Uranus, and then our lovely opposition to Pluto, which is another important point. And what's really important is that the sun is going to the exact degree and astrological minute on this day with both Neptune and with both Saturn. So this is not just a new moon. This is also the sun hitting some really major trines to our retrograding Neptune and our retrograding Saturn. So I'll do a longer video, but really big themes, the things that you have been working on since 2025 started, a lot of points of contact with that, and expression around desire and restrictions, and how restrictions can be helpful and also can make us feel trapped. And then on Sunday, we get, our lovely sun opposition Pluto to its exaction. And then, it's not easy. It's early morning. We have to face the things we don't want to face, and we have to see things as they are. And I will say, on a world stage front, a lot of secrets come out in oppositions and conjunctions with Pluto and the Sun and Pluto and Mercury. So yeah, listen to people when they tell you who they are the first time. And know that a lot of people already know who people are, and that's why they continue to elevate and follow people who are harmful, because it's not a mystery to them who this person is. They know exactly who this person is, whether it is a leader or someone they follow online who has harmful behaviors. If it's not a surprise to them on Sunday, they knew exactly what they were doing. So we kick off this week with a really difficult crossroads. It's also a point at which we kind of interact with the eclipse stories in between the two seasons that we have, and we're being forced to look at what happened in, Pisces season that really shifted our relational dynamics and really had us in a death grip there for a minute. The Venus retrograde was happening around that time. So just be aware of that Venus retrograde theme coming back up, being readdressed, especially as, we're kind of out of the orb now, but we were dealing with that sextile, kind of that little influx of fresh information at the early degrees of Gemini a few weeks ago. So yeah, this is this week. It is not going to be easy, once again, because of where Pluto is and because of the Mercury retrograde. We're in another Leo season that isn't quite, the hot girl summer maybe all of us are craving after, now 3 summers of various kinds of personal planet retrogrades in Leo. But it is about coming closer to home and becoming more true to oneself, and believing in the honesty of the heart and the honesty of desire. Learning to trust in really uncertain times, and learning how to resource oneself in uncertain times. It's very much the theme of Leo, the last few Leo seasons. Last year's with that strength card, that is also Leo's card, we learned that fortitude is often called in when the heart is involved. All right, my loves, that is my reading for this week. If you have any questions or comments, please ask them below or find me on Instagram or any other place where you feel comfortable interacting. I will have the tarot scopes out, so please check those out. Sometimes they don't get much visibility, so give them a little love. Um, Also check out the Leo season video and also the new moon in Aquarius. I keep saying new moon in Aquarius. New moon in Leo video will be out as well this week. I wish you many blessings. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you in a different space and time.